Oh, I love it when a motherfucker says, that's why you ain't got a man. And, bitch, there's not one motherfucking relationship out here that I'm jealous of. Not one!
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Just a Girl Show. My name is Janine if you are new here. If you're new to the channel, of course, hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on so you never miss an episode. And if you are a subscriber, welcome back to the channel. We see so much bitterness and hate in the way that women view marriage, especially when it comes to submission, especially when it comes to that word of having to obey your husband, having to, submit to him and allow him to lead, choosing a good man. Of course, we want to focus on the good men, finding a good man to follow and lead you. Right? Because women are always like, I'm not just following any man. Well, nobody wants you to follow any old man. We don't want you to do that.
What it comes down to is I'm not about to make no man feel like I need him, because it would be a lie. My lifestyle is not dependent on you. My happiness is not dependent on nothing. My orgasm is not even dependent on you. I really have to want you. I really have to want you. There's no aspect of my life where you're a necessity. And I don't know, I don't know that a man is going to, he has to just really, really want me.
But in the Black community, with us having very low marital rates as Black women, right? Because we just are not, we're just not in the running of all these men running down trying to marry us. We are the queen of engagement, allegedly, right? But when it comes to marriage, when it comes to just the foundation of being raised to be wives, majority of Black women are not raised to be wives. Majority of Black women are not being raised to be women who honor a husband, who will love, sacrifice themselves for their family. We are raised to be baby mamas. We are, okay? Even the women who are raised by their fathers, had their fathers in their home, still don't know how to pick a good man.
Oh, I love it when a motherfucker says, that's why you ain't got a man. And, bitch, there's not one motherfucking relationship out here that I'm jealous of. Not one! What does that tell you? I don't have a guy that's stressing me out. I don't have a guy that's cheating on me. Oh, poor little me. Oh, I think I wake up and I wish I had a man today. No, I don't.
It's crazy. We just have lost the foundation and the traditions as to what it means to have a father in your life as a woman and his role as a man, right? When you think about the role of a father, he is supposed to be the person who has your best interests, especially when it comes to choosing a partner for you, right? He is the best judgment for that, to see if this man is good enough for my daughter, if he has the characteristics, the finances, the morals, to become her husband. And we don't utilize that. We don't utilize our fathers as women, especially as Black women. We just don't. We never go to our dads. And I don't know how that started or why that is, but a lot of women who have their dads are still with trash men. They don't go to their dads for that type of advice. I don't know why is that breakdown, but they just don't. So when it comes down to marriage, we know that, when I've said this before, I think that we need to bring arranged marriages in the Black community. But we got to start with having families back. We can't do it without having the structure and having family. We need the men in the home. We need the men really being the men and being the leaders and guiding us and, and doing all the things. Because we need our men, our dads, to be able to assess our judgment, and hopefully we use good discernment to choose a man. That's why your father is the person who's supposed to have those questions more in depth from a man's perspective that we as women just don't know, that we as women just overlook. We do. But because so many of us as women know that if my dad gets in front of this man, he's going to probably tell me he's a trash man. He's not good for me. And I don't want to hear that. That's why a lot of these women avoid their dads, in my opinion. They don't want to have a man, their dad, who they claim to love and all the things. They don't want him to sit in front of that man and give his assessment about who this man may or may not be, and you got to decide what you're going to do with it. Because once daddy tell you, baby, that man is a liar, baby, that man is not going to be good for you, I could just tell the way that he spoke, the way that he did this, whatever, blah 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 blah. Once he tells you that, what are you going to do with it? You're going to probably be like, okay, daddy, and I'm going to do whatever I want to do anyway. Why are we here? Like, your dad should, once daddy say that ain't a good man for you, you should trust your dad enough to know he's got my best interest at heart. Well, I want to share this clip for you of this woman talking about her preference when it comes to marriage with her dad and her future husband. Let's come back and talk about it.
We've talked about this before, the idea of like, when I get married, I do not want my husband to ask my father for my hand in marriage, and I don't want to get walked down the aisle. And I feel like, one, I'm not your property. That whole
and everybody's
idea,
like, oh, well, that's not what we're saying. But that's where it's derivative from.
Yeah, like, no, like, you're not gonna, no, I'm not his property, and I'm not gonna become your property. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, you're not giving me away to him because I was never yours in the first place.
I'm not his property, and I don't want to become yours. I hate when black women use these terms in such a like dramatic, extra way. Like, I'm not his property. Like, you are his child, and he is the person who's taking care of you and is responsible for you until you meet your husband. It is now your husband's job to be your protector and your provider. That is the meaning behind it, right? The dad has that role until your husband takes over. So which is why daddy gives you away to that man if you follow, these traditions, because he trusts and he's on his due diligence and he used his discernment to determine that I feel comfortable giving my baby girl away to this man, that he's going to provide for her, he's going to lead her, he's going to keep her covered, he's going to, take care of her, all the things, because I have had that job forever. And that doesn't mean daddy's going to stop protecting you if he needs to, but it's now her husband's responsibility. But as I said, these women don't want daddy to do that. I don't want to be walked in the aisle. Why not? Why are we stripping away having a man tell us, especially our daddies, tell us how to maneuver in these relationships with a man? Why we can't choose a good man to save our lives? Like, black women cannot choose, women in general, right? But we have the lowest marital rates as black women. We can't choose good men to save our lives. So why are we trying to pull men further and further away out of the equation of helping us narrow down who's the best fit for me? Now, again, I'm not saying that, everybody's going to have the dynamic of, as soon as daddy say, I don't like him, just cut him off. Like, have a conversation, figure out what he's getting at. Why does he feel that way? Why do you feel like he's not the right person? Give maybe something that your dad said that you never paid attention to. Maybe you didn't know that about him. But for her to say, I'm not his property, I'm not her, I don't want to become his property either. So when you want your husband to protect you, is he supposed to say, you're not my responsibility to protect? Because I only can protect what's mine. So when it is property, technically you are mine. You are your dad's. You are his child. You are his. Now you become mine, and you're my responsibility. So we get caught up in this, I don't want to be his property and blah blah. Like, it's like tomato. You just don't want your dad to assess the situation and tell you that you don't know what you're doing, and tell you that you're making a mistake. To me, any man who sees a woman say something like this, run. Because she is not worthy of protection. She's not worthy of your finances. She's not worthy of your time or your love. How do you don't want your dad, you ain't your dad's and you ain't his property. Like, what are we talking about? Why do we not want to have any traditions? Like, we want to do whatever we want to do. Forget my daddy. I don't need my daddy to walk me down the aisle. He ain't giving me away. Like, it's crazy. But again, you want your dad. You call your dad when you need help. You call your husband when you need help. But these people, you're not nobody's property. Nobody. Like, this is sad. This is the other side of where the shifting of terms and words and meanings of marriage it's become so negative that you got women saying stuff like this. This is foolish. This is straight foolish, in my opinion. And it's sad, but this is, again, we don't want to utilize the men in our lives because we know that they're going to tell us the truth that we don't want to hear it. And do that same song and dance over and over again when it comes to choosing a good man. that we know that we struggle to do on an everyday basis. But again, these are just my thoughts, just my opinion, per the usual. Please share your thoughts in the comments on this topic. Drop it down below. Like the video. Of course, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next episode soon. Bye.